We're live.
You've got to be kidding me. Oy vey. All right. Welcome to the TDS Live SMU Halftime Show. Man, we've got a lot to unpack. Interesting first half, to say the least here, Seth. Where do you want to start? The surrender punt or the just complete mismanagement and lack of awareness by Timmy McClain at the end of the half there?
Well, I think you're seeing a lot of freshman stuff pop up today, right? You've seen the guys get open, just missing them in the first half. Hopefully he settles down at halftime a little bit like he did last week and goes. But, yeah, there's some decisions in the first half that probably cost you some points. Definitely, I thought both punts were bad decisions when you're playing an offense this good. If you're about at the 50, you need to be going. So that was disappointing to see, especially at the 35. I mean, that one was – I don't really have a defense for that one. That one's pretty bad in my opinion.
Absolutely.
But, outside of those decisions and then the bad decision by Timmy at the half, they're playing pretty well. I mean, defensively, this is exactly what we said. You should not be shocked. Offensively, they've moved the ball well. Just look right here. We have the stats up. The yards of play. USF actually has more yards per play than SMU. 6 yards of play. That's pretty good. So the problem is when you punt on 4th and 2 and you punt on 4th and 5, you don't get to run as many plays as the other team. So that's kind of that's the issue right now. I think those 2 punts were bad and cost them points. Defense, I think, is doing about as well as you could have hoped given the circumstances and who they're playing. If I told you that, they held SMU to 17 in the first half, I think you'd actually feel pretty decent about it. So
I would. I really would. And, it seems like USF is kind of playing back and letting them kind of, dink and dunk down the field. And that's why, Tanner Mordecai's 17 to 25, 185 yards. But, I mean, USF really kind of helped themselves in the red zone. It took, obviously SMU did score a touchdown on their second red zone possession to extend the lead to 17-0. But it took until third down. You saw some effort there, and then you stop them on 4th and goal to force a field goal on their first red zone possession, and that's the difference right now. USF gets a touchdown on either one of their red zone possessions, and it's a completely different game. And God, it seems like we talk about it every single week, man, and it still continues to come down to this stuff. And oh, God, I think Jeff Scott's decision to punt on 4th and 5 from the SMU 35 is gonna.
It's a bad one.
It's gonna be bad. And then, as James points out, the 4th and 2 from midfield was equally as bad. Obviously, compounded by Tim McClain not knowing where the first down marker was on second down. But
yeah,
dear Lord,
that's been something that he's done a couple times where. It looks like if he just stays, he breaks through the middle of the pocket, and if he just stays vertical, he picks up extra yards. He picks up the first down there, and there's been 2 or 3 times where he's broken through the front of the pocket there and then tried to get out to the sideline. And SMU is a little bit faster than BYU was last week, so you're not going to have that much success with that. And they're playing kind of top down, so they're seeing it. When you don't have time to kind of break it out. And on his longer run there to get the ball down close to the end zone on that quarterback draw, straight ahead vertical, I think he's got to, and maybe he's learning, but that's also part of the play call. But you're not going to be able to run sideline to sideline. You got to get vertical and pick up what you can. And that cost them on the first drive. Probably still shouldn't have punted, in my opinion. And then the second drive definitely should have punted.
Absolutely not. That decision is confusing, right? And Jeff Scott
I wouldn't be happy if Kirby Smart punts from the 35 going in, and he's got the best defense in the country. I'd still think it was a terrible decision.
Right. And
when your defense is bad, you don't make that decision.
Exactly. And Jeff Scott's gonna, I think his answer. I'll ask the question post game, and I believe this is the answer I'm going to get. Well, we pinned them at the 3, and we wanted to make them drive the length of the field.
Yeah, and he's going to say, I wanted to put some faith in the defense. But at certain when it's time to play games, you got to be realistic. And your defense hasn't stopped anybody all year, and this is one of the best offenses you've played all year. I wouldn't be putting my faith in them getting stops regardless of where the other team starts.
Exactly.
If you've got a chance to get, if you convert there, you've got a 1st and 10 at the 30 going in. You're not going to get many of those throughout a game. If all I need to do is get 5 yards, get myself 1st and 10 at the 30, give myself a chance to score, I'm not going to punt there. But yeah, that one is a tough decision to make, regardless of how you feel. If you're, trying to show the defense confidence, at a certain point, you got to be like, guys, you haven't earned the right for me to punt here. It's kind of like you saw how upset he was when they came off the field on the 4th down when you get the touchdown that gets called back from a false start, right? Really well designed play, well executed. Besides that. So, but you see how mad he is when they come off the field, because some of those guys are probably like, "Oh, let's go for it." And I guarantee he said you didn't earn the right to go for it by getting 2 penalties and backing yourself out of points. Basically, you gotta kind of say the same thing to the defense. You haven't earned the right for me to show a lot of confidence in you yet. So do not punt from the 35. That is a very bad decision. He maybe wanted after the game. He says he wishes he had back. Hopefully, you got a young team, young coaches. Hopefully they learn from that and this doesn't become a trend, but that was a bad decision.
It was, that's going to be something to look back on. And I don't want to, man, it's tough, through this is game 5. So we're up to 14 games now under Jeff Scott. Mm-hmm. The in-game game management has been less than ideal.
He was so aggressive last year. And this year it seemed to be I don't know if he got shell-shocked because he was pretty aggressive last year and it kind of bit him in the butt sometimes, but I wish he would have maintained that aggressiveness level.
Yeah, I mean, he has to be able to see that he has a much better team than he did last year, so the aggressiveness will eventually pay off, right?
Yeah.
At least that's the theory. And, I mean, USF getting the ball twice with less than 2 minutes left in the half and not coming up with a single point, that's backbreaking. And
especially once you get the ball down to the 20. I'm not too upset about the time not taking a timeout before the delay game penalty. You already were backed up.
Right.
And if you're held a timeout to get yourself a chance on that last drive, I'm not too. That's more on the players not getting the play. I mean, it's not like they're taking forever to get the play in. You got to get the ball snapped. That's more on the quarterback.
Yeah, and to just point, I mean, it's still, in the moment, it's like infuriating, right? But in college football, if you can't gain the 5 yards back on a delay game, then you probably shouldn't be out there playing.
But the one here to Joe's point, it did not. It seemed like they still let some time run off on that first timeout on defense on the last drive.
Right.
I think it was about 42, and they got the timeout at 38. Those 4 extra seconds probably would have been nice there. So
it's just play Madden, man. You've got 2 PlayStations, you got 2 Xboxes in the locker room now. Just camp out in the bye week. Just camp out, run late game situations. And just figure that out, man. Because that's
nobody said we're losing faith in Jeff Scott. That's nobody said that. I don't know if you jumped on late, Nick, but we're saying he's made some bad decisions this game. I still think they've done some really good stuff, especially offensively. There's had guys open. Nobody says we're losing faith. I think it's just bad. You just hurt yourself with some bad decisions, which even good coaches make bad decisions. I don't think either of us is losing faith. I know there's some people on Twitter that are already saying Jeff Scott's not the guy. It's like, relax. They're playing this team they're playing is better than them, and they're playing them pretty well. But you've killed yourself with some mistakes. So that's, to me, I still think he's doing they're doing a pretty good job getting the team ready to play. They've just hurt themselves with some freshman mistakes here.
Yeah, and if Timmy hits Xavier on any one of his two throws, if he hits Dollison, I mean, it's a completely different game. And on that first crosser to Weaver, the jump throw is never a great idea. No. I think if you ask BJ Daniels about that, he was a big proponent of doing the jump throws, and his accuracy was less than stellar for large chunks of games because they don't work. You're losing it, and then I mean, maybe Dollison can lay out for it, but I mean, at that point, what are you doing?
The worst part about the Dollison one was, okay, there was some coverage there, but the two to Weaver, really, they don't even have to be good throws.
Yeah, just
hold him up, just nobody around him.
Right, just like a punt it there.
Yeah,
get some airtime.
Those are two that if you just have a little bit better throw, and maybe he just needs to, like last week, he didn't start off a great throwing the ball and he settled in. He hit some passes in the first half that were, he hit the first throw of the game where he's rolling left, throws it to the guy coming across the field.
Sean Atkins, yep.
Trailing the tight end. That's a really good throw. And then he hits like a 12, 15-yard out for a first down to Weaver later. That's on a frozen rope. Those are two really hard throws. So it's not a talent issue. He's just got to settle down a little bit. Sometimes maybe those things are so open, and especially that first one to Weaver. Great play call. They roll him left a little bit to get the defense moving. They probably brought somebody across the field in front of the safety. Then Weaver goes back the other way. You got a good play if you can get it. And just missed it. So if you hit those, we're talking about a totally different game right now. So Nick, this team is the frustrating thing, but it's also the thing you got to feel pretty good about. It's the margins are not as big as they were last year.
Exactly.
This is that's much closer. You're seeing progress. Last year against this SMU team, I don't know how this game looks. They've probably scored a few more times. SMU has, but you're moving the ball. You're doing everything you need to do. You're just making some mistakes, killing yourself. Really, that's the tough part. But
and shoot, man, we're literally 1 month from game one, and the improvement from NC State to today is eye opening, and that's what we wanted to see. And it's so frustrating that we are like just so freaking close to just kind of breaking this thing open, and it's just going to take one bounce, right? It's the muff punt, recovering that muff punt. It's just those little things, right, that aren't quite falling USF's way. I don't know if that last throw to Weaver, did he lose? It seemed weird, like he reached out with the wrong hand, or he was off balance, or I don't know. Maybe he was running too hard and he was caught off balance. Like I know that happens with kids all the time. Like you're just running so fast, your legs can't keep up, and you just kind of flail about. It just those little things. Brian Badie had a nice little run there. Let's see what kind of the stats are for the running backs real quick. Brian with 3 carries, 21 yards. Jaron, 6 carries, 18 yards. And Kelly Joyner's gotten into the mix as well. The bright side, Jimmy Horn, 3 catches for 59 yards on 3 targets. Involved. Absolutely.
But I mean, it's really you're playing the run. You're playing the run well. They're averaging 3 yards a rush. That obviously, that's they ran for 250 last week against TCU.
350.
I'm sorry, 350 last week against TCU. So you're playing the run pretty well. They're going to be able to throw the ball. They've got a ton of receivers. Unfortunately, there's been a couple times where you have them hemmed in and pinned in, and that first touchdown, you had 3 guys there. Just gotta, don't, and we'll see it on the film room going back and watching it. But the guy makes a cut like he's going to cut in, And then you got guys, instead of keeping their angle to his outside and making him, who cares if he cuts it back in? You'll see on tape, you got like 7 other defenders coming to the ball. If he cuts it in, he's going to get smoked because one of the defensive linemen has run flat down the line, done a really good job. But you see him cut in and you jump inside, and now you give him back to the outside. So it's just little things that really good players are going to punish you if you don't do effectively. Unfortunately, that's happened, and they haven't made the plays the other way. But I mean, just look at the numbers. You're winning the yards per play battle. I think you have more tackles for loss than they do. So, which I don't think you would have guessed coming into the game. So,
exactly. And the big plays are still an issue. SMU has 4 big plays of in the passing game of 15 or more yards. They've got 4 of them for 81 yards. USF has 2 for 56. But on the flip side, USF has big plays for rushing is a gain of 10 or more yards. USF has 2 for 34, and SMU just has 1 for 10. And that's getting closer, right? I mean, BYU was hitting those deep shots all night long and really kind of opened the USF defense up. This is the improvement that we need to start seeing, and we'll take it from there. Key to this second half, you have to score a touchdown on this opening possession. You can't defer. Let them score on their first drive and then not score on your first drive in the second half. And it looks like we're about to kick off here. Yeah. So we'll sign off. We'll catch you guys at the end of the game. I think we'll like we did last week, we'll do the press conference and then come on for our post-game wrap-up show as we normally do in person. So we'll be in touch. Follow us on Twitter at StampedeSBN, and we'll keep this up. Go Bulls.
Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll be back after the game. Go Bulls.